Welcome to the San Diego Sabers radio podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth podcast network. San Diego Sabers is the premier lightsaber combat training group in the San Diego area. On this show, we get together and talk about saber fighting, combat techniques, and a lot of Star Wars geekery.
Good evening, afternoon, or morning, everyone, and welcome to the San Diego Sabers radio podcast. I am one of your hosts, Robert Chun, and I am joined by my esteemed friends.
Producer Andre's here.
And Doug, I'm also here.
Yes, Doug and Andre are joining us for this lovely evening, afternoon, morning of discussion on the first new episode of The Mandalorian, which I am very excited about. But first, we have some trivia.
Do we?
What's the trivia question?
I don't know, but I just remembered that we should have a trivia question. I forgot to look up one.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I actually have a. Well, hang on a second. No, actually, I thought I had
really good snarky ones, but I don't remember any of them.
I thought I had a great piece of trivia, and then I realized I didn't. So let me find an excellent piece of trivia.
Here we go. I got one. It's actually episode related. The character that was introduced in this episode, the Marshal, was previously mentioned in a novel in Legends.
Ooh.
Do you know which book he was mentioned in?
I absolutely do not, but I'm very curious to find out.
Okay.
Good save,
okay,
Andre.
So
Trivia save.
I did a little of background research, and that is one of the things I stumbled upon, and I will look it up one more time as we're talking to make sure I get the right title.
Nice.
But he is a character that is previously known, but not necessarily in this iteration.
Got it. I'm
Cool.
excited to find out because that's I didn't know that. I've learned something every day. But yes, this is episode 123. Thank you for joining us for our 123rd episode. What's interesting about 123? Well, they say that no one likes you when you're 23. I wonder about when you're 123 in our cyberpunk future where we all have 200-year-long lifespans and the world is incredibly overpopulated. We'll see.
Sure. Okay.
Our piece of trivia, actually, another interesting piece of trivia about the number 123 is we actually recorded this episode after episode, what was it, like 47 or something? So you guys are seeing this episode like 3 years after it was originally recorded.
Okay.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, we're coming
Definitely.
back from the past,
Yeah,
but
it's like
knowing everything that
2005
happened
right
in the
now.
future. Yeah.
I'm enjoying the Black Eyed Peas and another mid 2000s musical sensations right now.
And the hoverboard.
Yes.
I'm enjoying the hoverboards.
Oh wow.
But yes, very good. So, Mandalorian season 2, episode 1, huh? This is, how long has it been? Has it been a year now?
It's been just shy of a year. Yes.
Yeah.
Man. Well, at least one of us did a season 1 rewatch, and that was Mr. Andre here. So I did not do a rewatch, and
Okay.
I'm curious. I have a general gist in my head of all the things that happened. But I guess, were there any things that stood out that you didn't remember, Andre?
Not really, because as we were consuming it, I was also being that geek boy who went down the deep dives with all the people who are, posting all the Easter eggs and whatnot. So I kind of had a recollection of a lot of that. Although I am excited for what's coming up, I'm more so excited in season 2 after watching season 1 again. Partly because at the end of season 1, the Mandalorian getting the quest essentially to find the child's family or the Jedi or whatnot. I think that's a really interesting through line that gives the character more purpose. I think that kind of establishes him on a hero's journey that's a little different than Bounty of the Week or How I Make Money and to Survive. So I think the season 2 has a potential for greater development. Hopefully they don't. This is the one thing I am worried about, because I felt like they had this in season 1. They're only doing 8 episodes again, I believe, and I don't like the idea of filler episodes. And I feel like we had a couple episodes, even though they were world building in season 1. I feel like some of those episodes were kind of filler episodes.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So that is a concern. I'm curious if they can with the laundry list of stunt casting or casting they've done for this upcoming season, or the potential for people showing up. There's all the rumor about Rosario Dawson being Ahsoka, Katie Sackhoff showing up playing her character, which I just lost the character name on, Bo-Katan. We've got the reveal at the end of this episode. You've got all these characters that have incredible depth that I don't want them to just be walk-ons or stunt casting. I want them to have at least a little bit of a story arc while they're on. And then Cobb, I want to see him again because they did a really good job in this episode of giving him depth in a short period of time.
That's true.
His expository time while they're riding the speeders, kind of made him a little more interesting than a one-off, I think. And they show that they like bringing back their characters from previous episodes, so I'm hoping he comes back around again.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
As for season 1, I'm after the rewatch, I'm still excited. I'm hopeful that they can keep the rhythm up. I appreciate the fact that this episode is listed as chapter 9 instead of season 2 1.
Yeah.
And so
we're talking about that.
I kind of like that idea that they've got this continuity thing that they're building, that they have a through line that's only slowed down because of production and whatnot. And I'd be interested if obviously resources and time and our current situation makes it impossible. I would love to see these as 13 episode series, 20 episode series.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone would. Well, I'm sure someone's against that.
Well,
but, that sounds great to me.
I just complain about filler episodes. I understand if we went that direction, we definitely have fillers.
Maybe, I don't know, 12 or 13 reasonably meaty episodes sounds awesome.
As long as we don't get into the situation where we're Game of Thronesing through 6 episodes and none of them make any sense because they've been the pacing is so thrown off to cram that much story in, I'll be good with it. If they have room for a little bit of filler episodes, then that means that they've told all the story that they really want to.
Right.
So I think that's a good place to err on.
That's fair. Yeah, I'd rather not. I don't want them to rush it. I don't want them to have to. Push through, push at a rate that does not do justice to what they're trying to do, the story they're trying to tell. So I'd rather err on the side of some filler and more time rather than not enough time and no filler.
Right.
On the other hand, if they have way too many episodes, then they're going to start doing stupid stuff like bringing Boba Fett back for every other episode.
Yeah.
And I swear,
things like that.
Make a buddy cop episode out of it. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, he's still locked in the trunk that Asajj Ventress stuck him in. I never ever want to see Boba Fett get out of there. I know that he escaped so that he could fall into the Sarlacc later, but keep Boba Fett out of the story. It's cool. Also, I should admit, I misunderstood our agenda for today, and I thought we were just doing a recap.
Okay.
So I haven't seen the first episode yet, but I don't care about spoilers or anything.
Oh my God.
Have the discussion,
Okay.
but my input is going. I'm not going to try and do the college thing where you just desperately pretend that you've read the book.
Well, that's good to know. Okay. Well, here, let's just do a general recap if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, first of all, Boba Fett appears in the first scene.
He actually appears at the very end in that kind of a walk-off and sideways walk-off.
Yeah. So let's see. We can do kind of a general recap.
Okay. So we start off with Mandalorian and the child, which we will always call the child. If any of us ever refer to him as Baby Yoda, I will find you and slap you.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin.
Kevin is
yeah.
okay.
I've been calling him Kevin still.
I've been doing that too. So that is now foundational to the podcast.
Yes.
Excellent.
He is actually he's cruising into this slummy part of whatever. They didn't specify the planet. He's in his little pram, and they go to the Grimorian fight club what you saw in the trailers.
You never talk about it.
And
you mostly grunt about it. Do some oinking noises.
Apparently, all that graffiti on the outside was done by an artist who actually got a character walk on in the fight scene. So one of the
Really?
characters.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
That's awesome.
like I said, I did the geeky deep dive stuff with all the other people who do the Easter egg dives. So the artist actually was able to given a cameo in that scene.
That's super cool.
I love how free they're being with the cameos in this show.
Well,
like,
you throw some
anybody who
make,
wants to
throw some
anybody who
makeup.
wants to be a stormtrooper can punch Baby Yoda or Kevin if he wants to.
Yeah, and
You know?
and it's, well, you throw some makeup on somebody and there you go. It's
Mhm,
there's no acting necessary. Just I stand there and look excited.
Put a bucket on his head.
Yeah. He's the Mandalorian's there in an attempt to find other Mandalorians. He's trying to find other enclaves. He's a different term though.
He's I don't remember. The coverts. He's trying to find other coverts, Mandalorian coverts.
Yes.
Because like Coven, but they're not witches.
Yes.
Yes.
That is something else that in the rewatch I kind of stopped and the amount of helmets that were in the pile of Beskar armor were like several dozen.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't kind of just like 6, 8. Oh, hey, we lost a few. No, this was, on the excess of 50, 60 that I could kind of guesstimate.
Oof.
Yeah. It made me
rough.
wonder to the point if there are any Mando left after that. It's like, I guess it's good that Bo-Katan is showing up because that's indicating that, that there's a different covert out there somewhere. But otherwise, if there weren't already that many left, and there weren't even that many at the time of the Clone Wars because apparently they've been pacifists the whole time.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about potentially Death Watch splinter groups.
Theoretically. I mean,
then 50 could very well be all of them.
Good,
So I'm glad to hear
chunk
it.
of them.
Be bad.
So he's there trying to find more, and the shady guy that he's getting the intel from obviously double crosses him, and primarily, I guess, Beskar armor has now become a highly sought after commodity.
Indeed.
So he was literally trying to form a trap to capture the Mando's armor. The great scene on this one is, he used this little the flying birds, whatever the little
the
oh yeah,
what are they called? Whistling birds, I think.
Whistling birds. Just before it goes off, that's when Kevin closes his pram by himself. He literally leans over, hits the little button, and jumps back in. he knows what's going to happen. Fight breaks
Kevin.
He's got it. Although he was really more or less a sideline character this time.
That's true. Yeah, he didn't show up. He didn't do anything of note in this episode. He was kind of hanging out.
I would, just as an aside, I would kind of like to see him retreat into the background a little bit because he's not headlining the show.
No,
that's true.
And this one he kind of did, and I think it was appropriate.
Yeah.
And then, of course, fight breaks out. Mando takes them all out, including other ring pit fighters. And then this is another one that I love when a good guy does a bad guy thing. He gets the guy that he's trying to get there from. He strings him up over a lamppost by his ankles. He shoots out his little grappler, hangs him over, and he literally goes, "You will not die by my own hands. I promise you this." He gets the information. Obviously, it's back on Tatooine. Apparently, everything revolves around Tatooine. It's almost like a racket. I mean, it just without Tatooine, the Star Wars universe doesn't exist.
We're going to find out that Jakku is just a continental shelf on Tatooine.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
And then as he walks away, he shoots out the light, and all the wild animals' eyes light up, and kind of that's
presumably chomp this guy to oblivion. Yeah.
So that
funny
was
joke.
I like the reminders that Mando isn't a good guy. A good guy.
No,
he's a guy, and
yes,
he does good and bad
neutral.
things. He's the man with no name.
Yes, very much.
But he has a name and a face now. But we still call him the Mando.
Yeah. So after he gets the info, he and the child travel back to Tatooine, meet up with the nice hangar lady who enjoys Kevin and wants to take care of Kevin, and then he asks the lady about Mos Palga, I think is what it's called.
Something to that effect, yeah.
But yeah, that's where the shady dude told him that the other Mandos is located. So he's like, oh, this is not on any map. It's some remote place that no one's ever been to in forever. And so he takes the speeder bike from this lady and rides all the way to this like hodunk town in the middle of Tatooine where there's almost very few people, and yeah,
except for all the hoes in this hodunk town.
He does do a quick stop with the Tusken Raiders again, so
That's
really
right.
really appreciate the fact that he has he doesn't consider them evil, forthrightly evil, and that becomes an issue later on in the episode too. But
yeah, there's a shot where he's sitting down, like hanging out with the Tusken Raiders and talking with them in sign languaging.
They're just standing around. They're like Jawas, man. Those little vicious bastards.
I know. Yeah.
Let's get to your ship and they'll kick your ass.
Well, they're eating what appears to be a spider monkey, lizard spider monkey.
Like one does.
Yes. And then another piece of trivia that I came across today. The sign language that they used was developed by one of the actors. Actually, was a deaf person who uses ASL.
I was wondering that. Yeah.
And they developed a Tusken sign language. My little brother, he, by trade, is a sign language interpreter and teacher. And I sent that piece of trivia over to him. And before I finished hitting enter, he already sent back the name of the actor and that he's a cool guy and he's a good actor.
Oh, that's neat.
So he's already known, and he's well known in the community. So I don't have his name in front of me. If you're interested, find it yourself. It's now a meme.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, so I appreciate that little cut scene in the traveling across the Great Desert Sea establishes that he has a relationship, or he has respect for these people, which was established in episode 4 or 5 of last season, where they were taking out the assassin.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, so he arrives in this Hodunk town and walks into the bar, or the cantina, which is empty. The bartender's there, and he asks the bartender, have you seen any Mandalorians around? And he's like, our marshal wears Mandalorian armor. At which point the marshal walks in and orders drinks for the Mando and himself. And after ordering drinks, the marshal immediately takes off his helmet, which is like, oh shit, this is not a Mandalorian.
Yeah, just boom.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Death Watch, in which case you're going to run around with that helmet on all the time.
Yeah, which is a whole nother discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mando's not happy. He's like, who are you? Why do you have this armor? The marshal says he bought it from some Jawas after getting stranded in the desert after the Empire fell. This Hodunk town was taken over by a mining collective, and they turned it into a slave town. Marshall escaped, got lost in the desert, picked up by Jawas, and stole some valuable crystals from the mining people and traded it for the armor. And he came back to the town with his fancy new armor and shot up the cantina, kicked the mining collective out, and ever since he's been the marshal of these parts.
Did he say what name he was going by?
The marshal's name is Cobb Vanth.
Oh, okay.
I think
because there's I think this is, Andre would know in more detail, but there was that short story that was either right after they rebooted the expanded universe or right before, where they told a story about some dude that found a set of blue and green Mandalorian armor out in this desert, put it on, kicked the crap out of some corrupt, overlord in a little town, and became the marshal of that small town, and called himself Boba Fett, and traded on his name, and that brought back this whole legend of Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc, when in fact the man himself may or may not have, but his armor got out, and someone else is like the Dread Pirate Roberts now with Boba Fett's armor.
I don't remember the story you're talking about.
This is similar to the Cobb Vanth story.
So that's really cool that they're rolling that into this show.
I don't remember, because I never actually read the actual book, which I will give the title because it's the trivia question answer in a minute. But from what I read from the recap of the novel, it sounds similar to. I don't remember reading that he took on the mantle of Boba Fett. I think he just traded on the lore of Mandalorians and fighters, and although walking around in this armor, obviously it wasn't made for him. He didn't have the undergarment, under rig. It looks like it's just kind of stapled onto his shirt, kind of thing.
Yeah, so he's just got the chest piece, like the shoulders and the gauntlets and the helmet, and there's
Did the helmet have that ding in the forehead like Boba's?
It had the ding. He had he had the rocket pack. He had the rocket pack as well.
Yeah, it looks just like Boba Fett's armor.
That's amazing. Okay, that's really, really rad. I remember there was a legend story that takes place way after Return of the Jedi. And Boba Fett is talking about at one point running into, he's just bringing in a mark, and he's just reminiscing about that one time he found somebody else wearing Mandalorian armor pretending to be him and kicked the shit out of him, and took his armor away. And so that kind of, I wonder if that plays into this story too, where the maybe this guy is suddenly not calling himself Boba Fett because the real Boba Fett may have come out of the woodwork, climbed out of the Sarlacc or the trunk or whatever he was stuck inside.
Well, that was the conversation they had. It's like one of us is leaving this bar with that armor.
Yes.
Nice.
And then at which point, yeah, they're about to go at it because Mando's not happy. And then they hear this incredibly loud rumble outside, and they go outside together. They're like, okay, hang on, let's chill for a second. And there's just like waves of sand moving around, and
Think of Dune sandworm kind of.
yeah, but like
movement.
huge crazy like sand ocean going on outside. And all of a sudden this enormous mouth comes out and chomps a bantha that's just chilling, and everyone runs to their houses and they're very afraid. And it's a crate dragon, which has been terrorizing these parts for years.
So we're finally seeing a crate dragon on screen
Full size.
without
Mhm.
CGI. Oh, that's amazing. I thought you were. I'm glad it wasn't like a retcon of the Sarlacc or something.
No Sarlacc, no.
Yeah. Has anyone seen like the diagram of what a Sarlacc looks like under the surface of the sand?
Yes, it's like an iceberg.
It's like an iceberg that makes you want to vomit for hours.
Yes.
It's great.
There's
Nice.
there's a little thing inside one of the shops at Galaxy's Edge, which is like a little diorama of a Sarlacc, and it shows like, you know, you see this little bit at the top, and there's this like city of body parts underneath.
Oh, gross.
It's super
Cool.
interesting.
Another super interesting, super gross Sarlacc tidbit is in the expanded universe. I think they established that the Sarlacc on Tatooine was force sensitive,
Really?
which
I
is
didn't know
another
that.
reason why the expanded universe needed to die. So
Oh shit!
between
Oh,
that and
shit.
Skippy the droid, Disney needed to fix that. Anyway,
Wow,
carry on.
that's
But they
crazy.
brought back the green rabbits.
Yeah, well, you know,
But yeah, so Crate Dragon's here.
Great Dragon. That's amazing.
The Marshal makes a deal with Mando that he says, if you help me kill this thing, I will give you your armor and we can go on our merry ways. And Mando says, okay, deal. So they go after it. Oh my God, what I think is super cool. The Marshal, the Marshal's riding out to the dragon's lair where the dragon sleeps with Mando's on his speeder bike, and the Marshal is on a single pod racer engine with a little seat attached. I thought it was so cool because I want all of the pod racing content because I love.
Do you have Pod Racer
racing.
for your
This is
Switch?
Pod racing. What'd you say?
Do you have it on your Switch?
I do not. I was looking at getting it on Steam. It's $3.49 right now during the Halloween sale.
Yeah.
But it
that
was
too.
released in 1999, and it looks like it was released in 1999.
Yeah, it hasn't aged well at all. That's what I was
I was
thinking
just
on the
looking at it
Switch
last night.
screen. It's like super tiny. Maybe you won't notice quite so much.
Yeah. But dude, I want a pod racing motorcycle like engine bike thing. That's super cool. But anyway, yeah. So they go out to the dragon's lair. They're about to like they.
I can just
they get
imagine
there.
your bike that has like 2 outriggers with the actual engines in them or something.
Yeah, you could do
yeah.
all sorts of crazy stuff.
That'd be
that
great.
thing is probably so fast.
You wouldn't crash at all.
No,
No
not at all.
way. It would be impossible. But yeah, so they get to the lair and they're about to like, investigate what's going on, and they find a bunch of Tusken Raiders there. And the Marshal's like freaking out because he's like, Tusken Raiders, they attacked our village, they kill our people. But Mando's like, hey, these are my homies. I'm gonna sign language with you and talk. What's up? And it turns out the Tusken Raiders also want to kill the Krayt Dragon. So they end up entering into a sort of partnership where they're going to work together to kill the Krayt Dragon. But so much to the Marshal's dismay, he's very uncomfortable with the whole situation. They end up making a deal where the Mandalorian volunteers their whole village to help kill the Krayt Dragon because their early attempts are very futile. They lose.
And you need a lot of cannon fodder for killing the Krayt Dragon. You need the women and you need the children.
Yeah, there were several Tusken Raiders died during this episode amidst trying to kill the Krayt Dragon. But yeah, so they eventually agree to team up with the village. Mando and Marshall go back to the village, try and convince the villagers that you guys will totally join with these people who have previously killed your brethren to try and kill this Krayt Dragon. And they're all like, well, this is shitty, but okay, fine. And so then there's training montage, there's like packing for war montage as everyone's like getting ready to to take on the Crate Dragon.
They're like tying their boots and zipping their jackets and
Yes,
stuffing a knife into a shoulder holster.
Oh yeah,
yes,
totally.
there are
Vibroblade.
villagers
Or
passing explosives
upward.
to Tusken Raiders. Tusken Raiders dropping explosives. People getting upset. It's all good.
Like the regular villagers learning how to pump the rifle over the head and shout.
Yes, not quite, but yes, it's beautiful, and teamwork is dream work. Yes, it's great. But yes, they all ride out. They all go to the Crate Dragon's lair, and the
Just
grand
a side
plan.
note.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The Crate Dragon's lair is an old Sarlacc pit. And
That's right.
And there
That's
literally
right.
goes, nothing can cure a Sarlacc. Yeah, yes, something can.
if let's see, nothing. What is it? I can't remember the exact line, but he's like, yeah, but how could you ever kill a Sarlacc? And if you eat the Sarlacc, is the response.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, if you believe hard enough and you also happen to be a Crate Dragon,
Yeah.
then
Anything's
can,
possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the grand plan to kill the Crate Dragon is to bury a bunch of explosives in the sand, and supposedly after generations of studying the Crate Dragon, the Tusken Raiders have learned that the only weak spot is the belly. So the plan is to lure the Crate Dragon out over where all the explosives are buried, and then hit the detonator right when it's in the right position. And yes, that's the plan. So they bury all these explosives, and the Tusken Raiders go to wake it up. Every time the Tusken Raiders go to wake it up, by the way, they go to the mouth of the cave and just start yelling into it, and at least one of them dies. This happens
Nice.
2 or 3 times.
To be fair, that's how Tusken Raiders sort of handle everything.
I agree. Yes.
Rogue Jedi running through your camp, you just basically scream at it and wave your rifle around.
Yeah, and maybe die.
And maybe it goes away. Or maybe it kills all the women and the children. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so it's quite an ordeal. They wake it up. They try to lure it out. It gobbles at least one of them up. There's a lot of blaster fire and harpoons shot by the Tusken Raiders to try and get the creature out. Let's see. I forgot, how does Mando end up? Mando eventually is wait, because the marshal's got the detonator. He's like, he really wants to hit it because he's afraid he's gonna retreat back into his hole. But Mando's like, no, wait, we only have one shot. I forgot how they actually get it out. Andre, do you remember how do they actually lure it out?
So the initial wave is just the Tuskens firing harpoons off of these ballast kind of things, and then when that's not working, the village starts throwing, looks like Molotov cocktail grenade kind of situations, trying to piss it off even more. And every time it's like, I want to do it. He wants to blow the detonator, and wait, and eventually, through all of that, the machinations of those guys doing that, it finally gets out to that point.
Mm-hmm.
No, was that when they go jetpacking? No, they go jetpacking after the fact.
Yeah, so they eventually get it out to the point where they think it'll, it's in the right position, hits the detonator, big explosion, creature disappears into the earth, no one's sure if it's dead or not, and then all of a sudden it erupts from the mountains behind its lair, and they're like, oh shit, it's not dead. So Mando and Cobb,
who would have thought that burying explosives under a lot of sand wouldn't be effective?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it's a great plan. But yeah, so Cobb and Mando go jetpacking after it. They're like, we got to do something. So they go out and start shooting at it. Start I guess just trying to lure it from certain angles and whatnot. And meanwhile, the creature is barfing all over everyone. It's emitting this, presumably
acidic bile.
Liquid from its mouth, and it's killing tons of people probably, which we don't show in immense detail, but yeah. Let's see, Mando and Cobb end up back towards all the people, and they're like, what are we gonna do? How can we kill it? We don't know what to do. Mando says, I have an idea. And he turns to a bantha, which is a whole bunch of explosives on it, still strapped to it.
I like where this is going.
Yeah. They're agitating the Crate Dragon a lot. And he turns to Cobb and says, take care of the child. And he takes his rifle and whacks his Cobb's jetpack and sends Cobb flying off into oblivion. And he
that's not gonna, he's totally gonna survive that. That's no problem.
Exactly.
That's a safer alternative.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the Kree Dragon's charging at both of them. Mando's got his shocky rifle thing, and he's got the bantha. Bantha's trying to run away. He's trying to like hold the rope to like keep the bantha next to him, and we see the crate dragon just gobble them both up. And yeah, for a while nothing happens. It's just underground. Like everyone's like wondering what's going on, and then all of a sudden, crate dragon emerges from the sand. Its mouth is open and like pulsing with electricity, presumably from his taser rifle. Right. And Mando comes like jetpacking out from the mouth, and suddenly there's an enormous explosion from inside the creature as the bantha is no more, and all the explosives strapped to its back go off and tear a giant hole in the creature. And at that point, the crate dragon is done. Mando is covered in digestive fluid, and everyone's happy.
And Indiana Jones slides out of the mouth of the crate dragon, grabs his hat just before its jaws slam shut.
Yeah. Yes, and just kind of like waves it off. Exactly.
Yeah, nice. So does he get his pointy gun back?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's important.
He's carrying it with him as he's jetpacking out.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, thankfully he didn't lose that. But yeah, so end of the day, crate dragon's dead. The village and the Tusken Raiders have made an agreement that if the Tusken Raiders got to keep the corpse and all the stuff associated with the corpse,
pulled out the pearl.
Yeah,
they did the pearl thing. That's cool.
Yeah, they got the pearl at the very end. Yeah, they're like rifling through all this meat, which I was thinking, like, imagine like how long that would feed a group of people.
Really.
Like if you could like salt and refrigerate all that meat, like you'd be set for life.
Yeah, drying it's Tatooine, so drying it out just involves like laying the viscera out on the sand.
True,
and it's pretty much going to dry itself.
Well, Mando drove away with a brick of it. I mean, it was
he had like a
as big as Kevin.
Yeah, like a Kevin-sized steak on his speeder bike.
Nice.
Which I'm very curious what crate dragon meat tastes like. But
it's
yeah,
like chicken.
In any case. So they made a deal so that if Tusken Raiders get to keep the corpse and all the leavings, then they would never attack the village again. So everyone's happy.
Unless someone attacked them first. Yeah,
that's true. Unless the village breaks the peace.
Until they've eaten all the crate dragon, then
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at the end, Mando's got his Kevin-sized steak, and Cobb comes over with Boba Fett's armor and is like, "Hey, this is well earned. Thank you for your help." Blah 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 blah. And
the jetpack thing was kind of a dickish thing to do, but whatever.
Didn't have time to explain.
Thankfully, I learned how to fly a jetpack all by myself, all at once.
Yes. He tells.
Admittedly, much better than Boba Fett did when they whacked Boba Fett's jetpack the first time.
That's kind of a throwback, I think.
Yeah.
That's true. I forgot about that. It's a very good point.
So some random marshal out in the desert knew how to fly Boba's jetpack better than Boba did.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Cobb specifically says like, don't tell your people that I wasn't the one who broke that, because it was presumably his jetpack is all busted now.
Yeah.
So at the very end, you probably know more about this than I do, Andre. I just learned today. But as Mando's riding off with his bike and his steak and the armor, you see watching him speeding by on a mountain is this dark figure with a bunch of stuff strapped to his back. It looks like a Tusken rifle and something else strapped to his back. And he turns around, and apparently it's Jango Fett's actor who was standing there watching Mando right off into the distance.
Let's hope that he's just a clone. That would be nice.
The really sad thing is he's listed in IMDb as Boba Fett.
Really? Okay.
So I was hoping it was a clone. My curiosity was he watching the whole time? This is speculation time. Was he watching to get back his armor? Was he just waiting? Was he
that sounds like a pretty Boba Fett move to not even get his own damn armor back.
Yeah.
He has to wait for somebody else to do it for him, and then he's gonna chump that guy.
So so that's what Boba the speculations Fett, I'm hoping to find out. But yeah, it was all of like 8 seconds on screen. So
it was foreshadowing.
Have they established whether he is the same creepy watcher that was in the first season?
They took out the assassin? Kick the assassin? No, they haven't.
They haven't established who that is yet.
They still haven't. It's got the clanky clanks of spurs like Mando or whatever, but no, it's still undetermined. Which that's going to be a fun nugget to be revealed hopefully soon.
I also did you guys see his face and see that he was Tamara Morrison,
Yes.
or cool. So like the very first moment he shows
I
up,
don't know his name.
the very first
Good for
moment
you.
he appears, he has his helmet off. That's nice.
Yes. Yeah, and he looks
Yeah.
weathered. Let's use that
Yeah,
word.
he looks
Yeah.
like a grizzled veteran of
Nice.
wars long gone or long past.
So
I guess so. So if he's taken it off, that just means he can't ever put it back on again, right? Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, he's
Maybe.
no
Now
longer.
it smells like. Now it stinks like Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
no,
Well, you know, yeah. The longer this goes, the more on board I am with George Lucas, who used to swear up and down that Boba Fett and Jango Fett were not Mandalorians. That they were
I didn't
actually
know
just
that.
they were just dudes that stole the armor.
Really?
And he was saying that up through the prequels.
Yeah.
He was saying that they were not Mandalorian.
not true Mandalorians.
And nobody really knew what that meant. And then this whole second lore sprang up around Mandalorians. It didn't really fit the Fett's
Yeah, the
behaviors
Fets,
either. And then Clone Wars showed up and blew all that up to pieces because
Yeah.
you know they made the Fets really important, and then they showed Mandalorians doing all these things that the old lore didn't allow them to do, and whatever. So now they got to reconcile that.
Yeah, so I'd be curious on how they retcon that because
They've retconned a lot of that already, at least in this show. Like the
Yeah.
Mandalorians that appear in the show thus far have followed the rules of expanded universe Mandalorians, whereas the Clone Wars ones didn't.
and
So-
the rebels have that. Yeah.
Yes, that's very true.
And I understand that from a storytelling point of view. If you want a character to be endeared, you know back especially in animation, you've got to show face.
You got to show the face, show the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Show them getting stuffed in a trunk.
Yeah.
Show them whining constantly. I mean, sorry, got
Yeah.
sidetracked.
But no, so I'm curious if I mean I appreciate the fact that they brought the foundlings into the Mandalore,
Yes.
so that it creates a whole new opportunity. So the Fets could be foundlings that have kind of lost their way.
Yeah,
very
reestablishing
true.
that Mandalore is a creed and not a species or a even a
race.
planet or a
Yeah.
race is really important.
So I'm curious on that. That I think if they pursue it that way, we can accept some of the Fett activities.
Mhm.
Fet activities.
But I don't we'll see how that plays out. I'm excited because they haven't let me down in storytelling yet, and so by doing this, it just makes me excited. Not as worried as if in some other storytellers' hands.
Yeah, fair.
Sure.
So
Between
Favreau and Filoni.
yes, I was going to say Feige, and that was like the one name that I knew it wasn't. Yeah, between those two guys, they are just killing it with Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, this one was directed and
mhm.
written by Favreau.
Oh my God. Okay, cool.
So
Yeah. So things that stood out to me on this episode, I thought it was kind of neat. I was unsure about it at first, but I think it's pretty neat. This is the most cooperative exposure to like people working along with Tusken Raiders that I've ever seen. I don't maybe there's content hidden somewhere that I don't know about, but like this was very explicitly non-Tusken Raiders working alongside Tusken Raiders to accomplish a goal, and that was interesting and strange to me. Like it was world building for the Tusken Raider kind of culture and existence. At one point, a Tusken Raider hands the Marshal what looks like a tiny pumpkin with like black smoke coming out, and it's apparently water, and he's like, here, have some water, here's a nice gift for you. And the Marshal's like, fuck that's gross, I'm not drinking that, it stinks. And the Tusken Raider's upset because it's like, you steal our water and then you complain about ours, you're an asshole. And that's true. But yeah, so I thought it was
Colonizer.
Yes I thought it was pretty interesting kind of exposition for how Tusken Raiders live and all that.
This is something I'm really enjoying about Star Wars as a whole, is how it's evolving with the time.
Yes.
Like when Star Wars first happened in the 70s, guerrillas and insurgencies were looked at very differently than they are now. We call them freedom fighters.
Yeah.
And so you can have the entire Rebel Alliance, and you just naturally are like, well, yeah, they're the good guys, right?
Mhm.
And then when we revisited that story and came back to Rogue One, they had to sort of figure out what to do with the rebellion now. They're still totally the good guys, but we have to accept that they live a life that we didn't quite appreciate in the 70s. And so they kind of recast it so that it is a lot more complex.
That's
And now we're coming
interesting,
back to do the same thing with the Tusken Raiders, because I don't think I don't think the movies ever did this, but in a lot of the expanded lore, they established that the Tusken Raiders were indigenous.
Yeah.
On Tatooine,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly having a bunch of white dudes trampling all over an indigenous population is a lot less heroic than it used to be in the 70s.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that
Yes.
they're coming back and revisiting that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
fair.
And it
Very
also,
cool.
I mean, it's great Western storytelling too.
Yes.
Like, having the man with no name.
Be friends with Indians. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. To the whole Western aspect of it, cowboys and Indians. Oh, the Indians are terrible. Get them off my stolen land. It's a very interesting Western twist, given that this is very Western. Like, to have the hero be the friend of the indigenous people.
Yeah, which kind of would have been, since the man with no name character is usually an anti-hero on some level anyway.
Yeah.
It would have been, even in the days when indigenous peoples were bad in the 70s and 80s, you still probably would have had the man with no name type of guy being good with the natives, the Native Americans, because it gave him some kind of cunning advantage. And
Fair enough. Yeah.
And now he's doing it because it's just kind of the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But he still gets to keep his edgy cred from that.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. How nice. How progressive.
So
just just growing with the times and keeping it relevant.
Yeah, looking forward to the next episodes. I didn't watch the trailer for the next episode yet. I'm kind of purposely
I haven't
not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. Yeah.
I
didn't either.
Good job.
Because I didn't know I watched any of the episodes.
But because I'm kind of enjoying being surprised with the episode and then doing the deep dive afterwards. Like I said, there's always, within hours of an episode popping up, there's 2 or 3 channels that will do the Easter egg thing for me, so I don't have to do the hunt. But because I'm lazy.
It's really nice to break it down after you've appreciated the story first time around. Is it weird to be more excited? Sorry to cut you off again.
Go ahead.
Is it weird to be more excited about the behind the scenes featurette series that Disney Plus is surely going to make about this next season? Because the first one was so cool.
Yes. I'm just excited to find out as much as possible because they're doing such a good job with the deep dive, with with the world building, with the Easter eggs, with the. I mean, wouldn't even call it fan service. It's just that they know the world so well that it makes sense. So
they're coming at it with a deep place of respect.
Yes, and so the fans are recognizing that. I mean, we're recognizing that. So I'm excited and interested for the rest of the season. Like I said, the only thing that's kind of leading in right now is, the Boba Fett thing. There really is not the next step because he didn't find another Mandalorian, so there's no covert for him to be pursuing. So I don't know what the next episode holds. I don't know if he's spending another cycle on Tatooine and interacting with Boba Fett. I mean,
he's gonna go pod racing.
There you go.
That has to be it.
And then a pod racing montage. It's like when he was trying to ride the iguana lizard thing.
Yeah.
But now he'll be trying to. He just like hops into his pod racer, crashes immediately, and then they cut to the next scene, and he's cobbling the pod racer back together, jumps in the pod racer, and crashes it immediately.
I saw a video clip, and I if I find it, I'll post it on the Facebook group. But they're showing electronic cars, robot driven cars, and they put it in a racing car. I mean, decked out racing car. And the news spot is like they're getting all prepped for it, and they start the engine up, and it just goes and turns straight and plows right into the wall.
No. Oh no! What a mess!
It made my day.
Expensive mistake.
It made my day. It was just one of those things. It's like watching this, and the guy's all hyped doing the voiceover, and here you go, boom.
Oh jeez!
Couldn't manage a straight line.
No. Okay, back to Star Wars. It's one of those things that made my week this week because this week was dumb.
Traction is hard.
So I don't know. I mean, as for the rest of the season, rest of the episodes, I'm excited. I don't have any real expectations because I don't know where the storyline is going, which is great. I don't want them to telegraph it so badly that I can see it from 5,000 yards away. I want them to just go, okay, here's more information. Here's more new. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see Cara Dune. I would love to see some of the characters that were introduced, in the first season. Because obviously, we got to get back to the Moff, and him and his dark saber. I'd like
Mhm.
those are all things I'd like to see. I'm expecting to see, but I'm not going to be a crybaby or a angry fanboy on how they do it. I'm just going to let it happen.
Yeah,
and unless they really screwed up, and then on this, you'll hear me on this podcast flip the lid, flip a table. But at this point, I'm pleasantly surprised, enjoying what has happened, what has been shown.
Mhm.
I didn't feel it was a longer episode. It was almost 50 minutes.
It was,
55
I
minutes.
was wondering if that was what the normal was, but it seemed longer than normal.
No, most of the episodes last season were in the 35 minute range, and then we had one that was like 23.
Wow.
It's kind of nice. I guess it's kind of nice, having it as a streamable instead of being like a cable program where you have to fit into a certain time slot. They can take however much time they want to just tell each story, more or less. It's kind of nice benefit.
So that's kind of where I'm standing right now. I'm just excited. The game plan is from here on out is to stack the episodes together. So we'll have 2 episodes per podcast, and then since they're even number, we'll end up with an odd one at the end for the finale, and we'll do that one as a separate. And that will take us all the way through. This is podcast back-to-back planning. That'll take us all the way through, almost up to the Lego holiday special. So that'll be one of our podcasts.
Nice.
That'll
be fun.
Well, that's the thing. If you watch what Disney's doing, is you get through the Mandalorian, and then you get the holiday special, and then you get some stuff in December, and then I think right after the first of the year they go back into Marvel and do WandaVision, if I remember correctly, or something along that line. I don't remember the exact timetable, but
Disney has a master plan, of course.
Around then they'll have another break of news that they may or may not be doing the Obi-Wan show again.
Yeah.
Because every 6 months you got to do that.
Yeah, we're filming it. We're not filming it. We can't film it. We're not going to do it. And we threw out all the scripts.
Yeah, we keep remembering that it's just a story about an old guy in the desert, and we flip the script, and now we're starting over.
Because we're always at Tatooine. What the heck?
Yeah.
Someone's got an intense Tatooine fetish somewhere in Disney.
A couple notes on there were a couple times. And it might just be being nitpicky, and I'm allowed to. I'm a Star Wars fanboy. Some of the CG on some of the flybys through the desert was it felt a little chunky.
Oh yeah.
To me, it did. It didn't have some of the smoothness. I mean,
fair enough.
Way better than Land Speeder and New Hope, but
right. Yeah, they used a little too much Vaseline under it to hide the wheels.
Hide the wheels, but it's really nice what they do with the budget, but there are a couple times where you could tell that was totally CG. That was not quite, I would consider. And you might watch it and not see it. It might just be the fact that I watched it on a really big screen.
Sure.
I absolutely adore what ILM is doing. I'm not sure if it was in the Disney Plus behind the scenes thing or if it was separate, but that bit that ILM made where they talked about how they made the Razor Crest and how they actually went back to model making for the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
And they had to talk to guys who worked on the
old school dudes,
the old movies, and they're like senior executives at ILM now, and they haven't worked on a movie in years, and now they're like, hey man, we don't remember how to make models anymore. We really need help.
Yeah. To the CG point,
and the results looked amazing. So maybe they just realized
I fully agree.
We can't do that if it's not the Razor Crest. We can only do 1 or 2 models.
Yeah. So to the point of CG and whatnot, I will say that everyone's all the the random citizens of Tatooine that you see, they're all people wearing prosthetics and makeup and or puppets or whatnot. They all look really good. They're not they're not CG. It doesn't pull you out of the universe at all. They all look good and they all look convincing, and it's not. I think that's how it should be done. And I respect that.
The practical side of things. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. When you think about their filming technology and they're doing that big whatever they call the room that they film it in, you look at what is practical for when they're writing stuff or they're fighting stuff. It's there's a model of just a leg of this or part of this, and I'm just that is so cool. But
I don't know. I'm not familiar with this.
Okay, so if you watch the Disney Plus behind the scenes thing, I think it's one of the last episodes. They have limited set pieces. and then the rest of the room is nothing but screens, and they're using VR game technology to work with the line of sight of the camera. So whatever the background is, it is based on where the camera is, so they can make it longer, shorter. The technology is amazing.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah. So are they projecting it there so the actors can see it?
Yes, the projector. Is fully interactive, but but you have a giant wheel of a Jawa crawler. They've got the different pieces that are just like or the cockpit of the Razor.
That's cool.
You're
gonna get way better performances from the actors that way too. And when they when they can feel like they're part of the world.
And it's really great because the lighting is accurate. Because so if the sun is here,
true.
They actually project it.
Yeah, and
that's
so
cool.
it's if you get opportunity, it should still be on Disney Plus. I haven't watched it since it came out last year, but that technology is amazing for both. The initial cost was amazing. It's stupid.
Immense, yeah, I'm sure.
But the back end production value is, and obviously they can rent it out to whoever, because it's not just it's ILM doing their thing, but
sure.
But other than that, any other thoughts of this episode? Things we're looking forward to next season.
There's pretty much you nailed my view on it. I'm gonna take a backseat to bickering and nitpicking for the most part. I'm gonna let them tell the story, tell the story how they want to, and if I'm not gonna complain unless something really jumps out at me. But yeah, I'm gonna let them. I'm gonna just see, like, let it take me for the ride that it wants to, and I'm very interested to see where it goes. I'm nervous about the Boba Fett thing, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's let them tell the story, unless it's something totally heretical. I'm just going to go with it.
Yes.
and that's the thing too. This might be just me getting on my fanboy soapbox or yelling at the fanboys who are on soapboxes. It's like, yes, this is part of our world, but it's their world first, so they get to tell the story. And if you don't like it, then get $5 billion and buy it. Otherwise, it's. Go ahead and write your own fanfic or whatever, but they're the storytellers, you're the listener. You're not, unless you get yourself into a position to be the storyteller, don't complain. They're giving you something.
And the story's got to adapt and grow. Otherwise it's just, Star Wars would be dead if they hadn't changed anything from the 70s.
Yeah. Fully agree. Yeah. I think that's very true.
That said, I am going to bitch and moan if they recenter the story on Boba Fett. But
if he gets more, because right now he's only. If
he's a bit character, then that's cool. Whatever.
He's only listed in this first episode, which on IMDb.
Maybe they're trying to keep it sneaky.
Yeah. So we don't know more, and I appreciate that they do that. But I'm hoping that he's maybe one more episode. I hope he doesn't become a buddy. I hope he's just a
buddy. Yeah.
If he's like a one episode buddy and then he disappears, that'd be great. But I would really.
You'd like to throw him into a second Sarlacc pit.
The series has to follow the Mandalorian that it showed up to the party with.
Yeah.
I feel like. And
they know that. They know that why it's been so massively successful. So I feel like they can't fuck it up too bad.
And this is Favreau and Filoni. They've gotten this. I'm so happy with everything they did with the world building last season.
Yeah,
I'm just excited about what they're going to do with it this season. Like the fact that they're bringing Bo-Katan in means that they're going to have to reconcile the Mandalorians of this show with the Mandalorians of Clone Wars, and that's been a sticking point for me. So this is a chance for them to finally, put that to rest. So I'm really excited about anything that could show up this season.
My hope is, and this is just, hopeful, a projection or potential storyline. I hope Boba Fett is just the handoff to the next covert.
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the line he's maintained contact with several or whatever, or awareness of,
maybe, and
he's just a handoff. I hope gets his armor, hands off, and then he's available for other story portions, but he
goes off and lives his best life.
Yeah,
not bothering Mando,
or is something like that, because he's obviously without his armor, without whatever. He's not truly Mandalorian or whatever. So
yeah, one, and this plays into my complaints with Boba Fett, but in expanded universe, he started out as the most important Mandalorian, and then he just became way more important, and he became Mandalore for a while, and all this other stuff. And this is their opportunity to take a totally different way with it.
I hope so.
And if he's already taken his helmet off, and maybe that means he's already walked away from that, from his heritage kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's an exciting opportunity.
Yeah. So, or I hope that he takes Boba's armor to the armorer from season 1, and they have a great moment together, and
oh man,
they just melt the thing down.
She's like, Boba, you jackass! You were never supposed to get this in the first place. Did anyone else? Okay, totally random aside.
Okay,
was anyone else last season? When we saw the huge pile of armor and all the helmets and everything, and the main guy, Din Djarin, was horrified at all of it, because this is all of his friends and family.
Yeah.
And the armor, she just walks up and she grabs a helmet or something, and she walks in and she's like hammering it flat again. Did any of you get the visual of her picking up these helmets and shaking the heads out of them?
Oh, I did not, but that sounds horrifying.
These helmets had dead heads in them at one point, right? So she's like,
maybe
shake, 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 hammer, hammer.
Well, she needs
Helmet,
fuel.
shake, shake.
She
hammer,
needed
hammer.
fuel for the furnace. I mean,
I was gonna say, it'll burn anyway. That stuff's pretty hot.
Mandalorian blood burns hot. So
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
I
On that
hope
note,
we see her again.
I do. I want her to be the sage, character that comes across this path at least once a season.
Yeah.
I think because she right now is essentially the archetype or the keeper of the Mandalorian lore for this community. So I want her to be somebody that just pops up periodically.
Plus, somebody has to make the armor,
Yeah.
Yeah. Without the armor, there's no Mandalorians. So she's got to stick around a little.
And she can also play the Q character about, oh, by the way, have you ever fought with this? And he gets a new toy.
Oh my!
These are screeching birds.
So
improved whistling birds.
That's the character role I want for that person.
Here's your new Space Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. This is the true Mandalorian space vehicle, and they get rid of the Razor and just.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, did any of you guys feel tempted to put in the pre-order for the Hasbro Razor Crest?
Oh, the Lego or the Hasbro?
I didn't know there was
the Hasbro Pulse. So Hasbro, they have their own crowd funding campaigns, which they're Hasbro. I don't know why they need to do that.
That's
but it's their way of gauging interest, right? So they say that's how they price out the really absurdly expensive toys. So a couple of years ago, they did Jabba's sail barge,
right?
Scaled to the 375 figures, and it was room size. Then they did things like Unicron from Transformers, where it was planet-sized, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they just announced that they're doing the Razor Crest scaled for 375, and they're not doing the thing that they used to do in the old days, where Kenner would make a Millennium Falcon and squeeze it way down so that you can make it work with your figures. They are keeping the scale that's been demonstrated in the series. So every single room is in there. The bathroom is in there. Everything.
Wow.
And the sides actually come off, so you can get inside and play with all the things.
Man.
You have all the guys encased in carbonite are in there, in their slots.
Sweet.
But
of course, unlimited space.
And it costs, I think, $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm more likely.
Right.
I'm more likely to buy the Lego, which I think is like 50 is like 10% of that.
Yeah. I want that so bad, but at one point I got really excited and bought the Tartakovsky Clone Wars Laddie gunship, the one with the the shark teeth on it. Really excited. It was really hard to get. Finally got one. It's in a box because there's nowhere in my office to actually put it.
Yeah, that's
I went to all this effort. I got all the ARC troopers to sit on it. I got the thing, and then it was so cool and huge. I tried hanging it up, and then was sitting under it and was just terrified that it was going to fall down on my head and kill me.
Oh,
so
no.
There's no way I could get the Razor Crest anywhere in this house, but still.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you need a dedicated house to put all your Star Wars stuff in.
Whoever buys it has to play with it, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Okay, so wrapping up, expect to see us in 2 weeks for the next couple episodes. If you're hearing this at release, we are also going to be start releasing some special edition interviews with the Sable Martial Art Foundation leaderships schools. Those will be coming out in rapid fire. If you don't want to wait for the audio release, the videos are on our YouTube page. We do have some changes to our information to get to us. I now have Andre at sandiegosabers.life as an email address to get a hold of things for the podcast. And if you have questions about the club, it's info@sandiegosabers.life. If you have questions, concerns, if you want to be informed about our hopefully soon is the hopeful. We're looking into how we could start gathering again in a limited capacity, safely and effectively, so we can continue training. That will be coming up be announced on all our social once that does take place. But the leadership team has been meeting on trying to figure out how to make that work and do it safely and where everyone can be confident in their personal safety as well as the opportunity to continue training. But other than that, our usual social stuff stays in place. You can find us at pod_SDS, podcast_SDS. Facebook is still the same. Once again, if you look up San Diego Sabers online and you find people swinging glowing nerd sticks, that's us. If you see people playing hockey, that's not us.
We are not a hockey team.
We are not a
even
hockey
though there
team.
is one.
But we'll answer the question, today's trivia question, and I think that should do it. Unless anybody else has anything to say.
I have no idea. Doug, do you have any idea?
I don't. Even though I mentioned a story out of the book, I have no idea what it's called.
It's the it's the Aftermath series.
It's Aftermath.
Oh, it is
okay,
Aftermath.
I was going to say if it's anything, it's Aftermath because I think that was the first book that came out. Okay.
Yes. So there's several books in the series. He is. He's mentioned in the first book, and then he's kind of a through line to part of it. I don't know.
So that's still canon then. If the Boba Fett story's in there, then that's
it. But it's a
canon.
It's a different town. It's so there's some nuances that are changed, but they're respecting the arc.
Nice.
So that is the answer to the trivia question. Hope you guys got it right. If you did get it right, obviously you're a fanboy beyond us. I had to look it up from previous studies. So good job on you. Give yourself a gold star in the lower category.
Way to go, nerd!
Yeah,
good
Flush
job.
your head in the toilet for us.
Oh. Yes, I know. I'm old enough to know that's what the nerd response is.
That's what the nerds do. Yeah.
Yeah, the swirly. And for that, I am producer Andre saying good night.
I am Robert Chun. Have a lovely evening.
I am not Robert Chun. Have a lovely evening.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Until next time, remember, always keep your blades up, don't lose your tip, and may the Force be with you.
San Diego Sabers Radio Podcast. Star Wars. The Star Wars logo, music, characters, and other Star Wars items are the property of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content is property of San Diego Sabers, copyright 2020. May the Force be with you.